and welcome to Real Business Roundtable. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of small business owners think about. Whether you're doing B2B or B2C, everybody needs leads. Everybody needs opportunities, and there's different ways to generate those opportunities. And we want to dive in today about what are the different ways to generate a lead, which is usually an inquiry. Either somebody emails you, or they call you, or they inquire in some way to possibly do business with your company. We want to dive into how does that actually happen? How are they created? What are the differences? What you may want to stay away from. A lot of vendors out there saying that they can generate leads. So today we want to talk a little bit about, the different available options out there for small business owners.
Yeah, just different forms of lead gen, and there's so many different ways to talk about lead gen. I mean, there's lead gen companies doing cold outreach, doing LinkedIn, email, all that stuff, and then there's marketing that is essentially generating leads, and then cold outreach, yourself doing your own lead gen. And so there's so many different ways, and there's goods, bads of all of them. And I think that we've been dealing with recently different forms of lead gen for this new company that we're starting, and so I think it's a really good topic to talk about, especially what we're going through right now. It's kind of it's in the moment. It's like happening now, and we that's some stuff I'd like to share.
Yeah, lead generation trends will shift. So back in the day, a lot of people were doing. So we're referring to cold outreach. I'm not talking about running ads, using data.
I'm not talking about that.
I'm just talking about cold outreach. Basically, hey, are you interested? Or hey, can I fix your problem? Back in the day, there was a lot of cold calling going on, and then people sort of shifted away from that. Even before that, people were doing bullshit, direct mail and stuff like that. But there are some tactics that are used today that may have worked before, not too long ago, but now people are tuning them out. And this is important because of the quality of the lead that's generated. The type of lead that's generated. Yes, even though you get a couple bites here and there, what are you doing possibly to your reputation? So I'm referring to, for example, mass email blasts. Got to be careful with that. If somebody says, don't contact me again, you need to take them off your list. And you have to partner up with a group that's going to properly manage that. If you are engaging in email cold outreach, step number one is, well, aside from identifying who you're going to communicate with and making sure that your messaging is relevant to their common problems, if you're doing any kind of mass emailing, make sure that you are not respecting when someone says, I'm going to unsubscribe. If you have an unsubscribe button at the bottom of that email, you need to make sure that you honor it if they say unsubscribe or they click unsubscribe. Because if you keep hounding somebody and borderline harassing them, they could report you. It's bad for your brand. But also, you need to make sure that whatever company is doing this email cold outreach, that they're not using your domain. So if your domain is, businesssolutions.com, then your email is, john@businesssolutions.com. Don't use that URL, that domain. Never, ever use that for your cold email outreach, especially if you're putting your trust in another company's hands. Make sure they're using maybe Business Solutions USA, a different variation of your domain, just in case. Because you're going to get shitheads that are just because they hate their lives. They're just going to try to report you or click spam or whatever. You're going to have miserable like that trying to meddle with your shit. But also there will be genuine people that are like, hey, I'm just genuinely not interested. Then, you want to make sure that you're doing it you're doing it in a way that's not going to impact your brand. Because you got to think about it. You're doing cold outreach. These people didn't ask for you. They may be a fit, but you're dancing on that line. So when you're hiring a lead generation company, these are companies that solicit you to help you generate leads, mainly from cold outreach. This has nothing to do with paid media, advertising, SEO, word of mouth, organic. This is completely a different side where you say, for example, I can work with facilities managers. There's a boatload of facilities managers that I can't get the attention of through my ads. Okay, I'm going to try to harvest leads through an approach that's going to get right in front of them and talk to them. Sometimes it's cold calling. If it's a B2C effort, the cold calling should be always scrubbed for the do not call list.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done.
If it's B2B, you don't have to worry about that. But you also have to look at, what is this company saying on your behalf? What's their approach? You want to speak to some of the representatives that are going to be making calls on your behalf. It's very important to maintain the integrity of your brand if someone's reaching out cold and representing you, say by telephone. So me personally, I've had business development people make calls for me, and everybody has a bad day. Sales is not exactly easy. It can be frustrating if you're dealing with knuckleheads and whatever. If you're dealing with people that just don't have a brain, it can get very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with lead generation companies is that some of them are great and some of them aren't the best. And, there's a lot of old tactics that are used that may not work anymore because this type of work is always changing. People's, sifting process or like sorting process in their brain is always changing. So, something that they say to a certain business maybe like, okay, we don't want that. We're leaving this one alone because we don't like the words that they're using. So it's very important to have a strong strategy with lead generation, and you should work with your lead gen company very close, as in the beginning of the relationship, to make sure that what they're saying and the text, the text that they're sending or the email or whatever it is, sticks to your brand and sounds like you. Some situations I've found is that, LinkedIn lead generation, it's very particular in how you do LinkedIn lead gen. If you're sending out 50 to 100 emails a day with the same thing that sounds very pitchy, it's not going to work. It's straight up just not going to work. For me, doing business development, sales, and all these different things, LinkedIn has been a great way to build a community, join a community, get contact information, find out, different people that it would be good to reach out to within a business. But I have probably signed up, or I've probably worked with 3 people that I've talked to on LinkedIn. It's not really a great place to do lead gen, but it's a great place to find information about companies and to join communities and to do stuff like that. So if someone comes to you and says, we do LinkedIn lead gen, I would ultimately personally, I would back up from that.
Yeah, these are our opinions from experience.
Yeah.
I have tried almost everything under the sun, and anything I say today is based on experience and my understanding and my personal opinion. So if anybody's in the trade of something I don't agree with, which I'm going to get into, I'm not saying I don't agree with calls and emails. There's a right way to do it. Mm-hmm. But there are some things that I personally can't stand. Robocalls, I will not touch that with a million-mile stick. I will never, ever do it. It's bad for your brand. It makes you look like an idiot. You better not say your company name on that robocall, because someone's going to badmouth you or whatever. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Another thing that's really, I think is risky is ringless voicemail. Ringless voicemail is basically you get a list of mobile phone numbers. You send out a voicemail to, let's say, 20,000 voicemail boxes. And the idea is that, someone will return my call. What I found from trying this, I just tried it. And we had a little project, tried it. This is what happened. A slew of angry people, confused people, people asking, who is this? Because what happens when you use a ringless voicemail is it rings the phone once. I'm sure everybody that's watching the video has experienced this. Your mobile phone goes ring, and then it shuts off. What happened there was the company that's trying to solicit you is using ringless voicemail, where it just throws the voicemail message in your voicemail box. Well, sometimes people don't have time to listen to it. So they'll just call the number back. They're like, who was this? They just called me once. So I had a sales guy like literally waiting at a phone for a project, and boom, we blasted out. I think it was like 18,000 ringless voicemails. It was crap. It was just total insanity. Who is this? What? No. Huh? What? It was just the vibe of the whole transaction and the call, and it was just not good. My opinion. It might work for like, mortgage companies. It might work for ERC folks or whatever. If you have something so enticing that, I don't know. This is my opinion. So yeah. I don't recommend, robocalls is a big no. Ringless voicemail is a maybe. It might work for some industries. Tread very carefully. Outbound calling, emailing, I'm still a fan of. I think
texting, SMS is also powerful.
Okay, so that's the next topic.
So,
SMS. What do you know about that?
Well, I mean, so all of it comes down to, like, for me, I haven't had as much experience with it. I've worked with a lot of lead gen companies, just, building out, text and what to say and stuff like that. But it's more likely going to work if it's more personal, if it's more like, different and less pitchy. That's what I've always known. It's, I like, sometimes it's weird, but I say, like, go into, like, for a text, when you, like, if for lead gen, for texting, you can send a text that says something along the lines of, hey, whatever the name is this still your number? If so, or something like that, without giving any information. That always gets a response because they don't know who it is, and they're like, oh, this person knows me. We haven't talked in a while. They used to have my number. It just brings out a lot of, they what is that called? Like, almost like they think that you know them already. And so then they answer, and then you go in with like a light pitch, like, hey, this is what I do. I've been meaning to reach out to you. It all depends on what you're saying in the text for SMS.
Yeah. So all of aside from texting, but email, text, phone, LinkedIn. If LinkedIn is done by you personally, and you connect with someone, you maybe can relate to their post, you like their post, you leave a comment, you somewhat build a relationship. That carefully curated, crafted relationship is more genuine and received much better than just blasting the same stupid paragraph to everybody that they're just going to tune out. That's when you lose the soul of the true relationship building.
Especially for LinkedIn.
Yes.
So LinkedIn is way better for personal. It's good to have some automation on LinkedIn. Like, it's just in general, it's good to have some automation on LinkedIn so that you're constantly active. But LinkedIn is way more of a personal platform, going on there, like you said, liking, commenting, you're
relating to them,
engaging, you're creating that community or joining a community, learning something from it.
Yeah. So just be genuine.
It's all about being genuine, but
yourself.
It's hard to do that when you're sending out, 1,000 different things. So you have to be really creative. One thing that I actually, thought of to be different, and something that would actually like resonate with some people potentially, is instead of sending out like a text to like 1,000 people, and like iPhones and even Androids now, you can send like a voice message. What if you send like a voice message?
That's different.
Like,
that's cool.
But you would have to figure out a way to do it without adding their name and like still making it sound like friendly. But that, I feel like that would be really interesting, and I actually want to try that with our lead gen guys.
I get those on Instagram.
Really?
They creep me out.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people do.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it sounded good at first.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the experience, like what I felt when I get a voice message from someone I don't know from anyone, especially on a social media platform. There's something really creepy about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder how it would relay over text.
But at face value, when you say it, it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting. But I go, when did that happen to me? Oh, that was weird as fuck.
That's funny.
I was weirded out. I go, this person's like, hey, follow my IG and you'll get, we're going to send you a pair of jeans to try on.
Okay, well, it all depends on how you sound. I mean, if you're like, hey, what's going on?
This dude was trying to get me to put on a pair of jeans and post a picture with a tag. He goes, oh, you want to be an influencer, right? Hey, listen up, we got jeans.
You've gotten those too. Are they weird?
Put on
Oh,
jewelry.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got that one too. Put on this bracelet and tag. No, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that. No, I mean, but I wonder if it's like, it depends on how you sound. I kind of want to try it. But another really powerful thing with lead gen that I thought of recently is, so we made these booklets. Should I just show it? Just like,
Sure.
so we made this booklets, and it comes with a bunch of different stuff, like just like cool stuff for our business. And so what I was thinking was, flip it. So we made these booklets, right? It's like an informational deck, something that you can hold. It's tangible. It'll get people's like, it feels good, right? And so what I was thinking was, whenever someone shows interest through our lead gen process right now, whenever someone shows interest, immediately send this to them in the mail. And this including a couple other things, whatever. It's not just going to be this informational stuff, but sending them something in the mail. Someone who shows interest, someone who's planning on setting up a meeting. You send them something like this, so they get this in the mail, they hold it in their hands, and they think, oh, it's really good quality, and the quality of the product is going to, correlate to their expectations of the quality of the people that they're meeting with.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we have the meeting with them, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on, a call, whatever, they're going to have this in their hands. They're going to have questions ready, and we haven't even talked to them yet.
Yeah.
I think that we haven't tried this yet. This is just an idea that I got recently, but I think that it could be a very powerful form of lead gen. So you have that really good lead gen strategy where it's not omni-channel, but many different channels of approach towards a prospect, text, email, phone call, social media, whatever platform it may be. And then the second they start showing interest, we get that information from them, send out this booklet and whatever else we decide we want to send out, and then they have it in their hands. I think that could be very powerful because it's not just on their phone, it's tangible. If I was to get something, you know what I always get now that I just thought of, which is not a bad idea if it's this type of product, but I always get the pen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first opened up my LLC, I got like a thing where it said the pen had like my name on it, and I was holding it in my hand, and it was like, I actually thought about it. I was like, interesting. Like, I mean, obviously I was like, I don't really need pens. I use the iPad, I use computer, whatever. I don't really need a pen, and I have pens. It if it's something like this where they're holding it in their hand, I feel like it would be very powerful. No, but I think it's like, I think it would be really powerful to, send something in the mail that they can hold and feel it's tangible.
When you're selling something when it comes to lead generation, when you're selling something that's not tangible, you're selling a service. We deal with this in the digital space. Hey, what am I paying for? It's like, yeah, look at your reports. Look at that 500,000 people I drove to your website. Anyways, that's another conversation. When you're selling something that's not tangible, like a digital product,
having tangible products is very powerful.
It's always good to give them something that they can physically touch. Unfortunately, in the digital space, what people see in the digital version of tangibles is they see the website, they see the social media posts, they see the data that the technology spits out, they see the photos, but the work and the labor and like the search engine optimization stuff and, data sorting or whatever, that labor, sometimes people don't realize that labor, just because you can't touch it and you can't do this with it, right? You can't do that. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It has pen ink all over his face.
It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It means you're paying for human beings that have a talent that provides value. They're providing you a service to help you achieve a goal. So
a good way to illustrate that is having the numbers available.
But just to get to my point, it's always good to give them something too, because this is a software. You can't sit down with, this software, this program, the software itself, you can't hold it physically, right? So it's good to give them something like this so they can literally go, oh, okay, and they feel it, they're experiencing it. it just adds a little bit more validity to the offering.
Of course, and like what we're planning on doing is we're not just gonna have this. We're gonna have like keychains, potentially, and we're gonna have those like squishy stress ball things, and like just like essentially like a box of goodies, and just like stuff that they can hold and stuff they can put on their desk, and it's always gonna remind them. And when we get into the meeting, and they're holding this. Not only do they have questions, they have something in their hands. It's just going to look better. It's high quality.
And the next phase we're talking about, maybe in a year or two, we're going to create a very exclusive customer interface on an app where it's going to have a
lot of information. Really,
it's going to have basically, we're going to send like a metal credit card to the client. They are going to own. So the way the software works, I don't want to get too far off, but the way the software works is basically if you're a restaurant and you want to know every single person that wants to get dinner tonight, this software will tell us who those people are so we can target them on all platforms. You would purchase a license for, let's say, Watertown, Massachusetts. You'd purchase that license and you would get a key. That key is a series of numbers or a password. But it's all about the branding and how we want to do it. We want to create an interface where that customer goes into the app, puts in their industry key, and only they have first access to those customers that are expressing interest to buy whatever it is that you offer. So in this instance, I'm using a restaurant for an example, or if you're a construction company and you want to detect when somebody wants to build a home addition, you put that key in the interface and literally you see a live feed of all these encrypted emails.
But let's save that for just chatting.
Yeah, we're going to
finish up because I have a couple more things I want to add, but let's finish up lead gen.
Yeah, just to wrap up lead gen. So let's talk about the basics. We've talked about cold email outreach, telephone outreach, robocalls, hell no, voicemail drops, maybe, LinkedIn, maybe if it's done tastefully and with class. Like, don't blast everybody with the same message. Keep it genuine. Be yourself. Other forms of lead generation through SMS. Make sure that you're doing it the right way. Maybe you have opt-in data. Maybe these are people that have inquired before that you're following up with through SMS text. Always make sure you're following the law. Especially with telephone cold outreach. Make sure if you're calling consumers, homeowners, make sure that you are not calling the do not call list. Okay. Faxing, nobody does that anymore. That's extremely dated. But those are kind of like the basic outreach, door to door, completely fine. You can do that. Walk-ins for lead generation is great, especially if ads don't work, mail doesn't work, texting doesn't work. Voicemail drop, like you've tried everything. You've tried all of the above. They're an expert at tuning out every approach. At that point, I'd like to talk to the right person. But this is all additional supplemental to this, to having a good concrete infrastructure like digital, social, search, website, running ads. That is all the foundation. We're talking about your standard cold outreach lead generation in this episode.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable.
Thank you.
Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so that you get notified every time we post a new video. And then also check us out on Instagram where you can find clips and updates and info and more good stuff. Peace out. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.